Recording in progress.
Yeah, one second. Yeah.
You should have said, yeah, our boss actually got done for $600,000. You want to talk about people getting scammed? We know about that.
Leave the meeting. I think if I leave it cuts it on. Oh, we'll just put it somewhere.
That accessible, we can certainly take them through virtually. There's no limitations for you.
Morning, guys.
Morning.
Morning. Hey, Zal.
Morning.
You're up nice and early, buddy.
See you, mate. Bye. Head after he's finished with Dan. Probably have a talk from
Hey. Morning, Harry. Somewhat.
Morning.
All right, just getting everyone on. How are you, Dicko?
Good, thanks, Dave. How are you?
Bloody beautiful.
Top day.
Great day, isn't it? Great day. Nick's down the bottom. Yeah, Nick, you got me, mate? Oh, you're just still connecting to the auto. All right, I think we might be able to hear Nick now. We just can't see Nick.
Morning.
Sure.
Morning, Dave.
How you going, buddy?
Good, mate.
Are you there, Nick? We'll just get Nick on the mobile. Katie's there. Alex Woodgate, Logan, out at work. Braithen's coming on. Just for time management, guys. We can obviously. Oh, here comes Nicola. Nick's come have another crack. I'll just let him back in. Where is he? Oh, here we go. Admit. Just Nicholas is coming down the bottom. Al, you're coming on now. If you can hear me.
Mm-hmm.
And what you find out.
Hey, Mr. Wise. Hello, sir.
G'day, how you going?
Really good, mate.
Well,
Really good.
away.
Mate, we've got, I think everyone's pretty much on now, so we're just going to kick it off. So first of all, on behalf of the team, mate, really appreciate. So for everyone that might know, Nick's just got out and start his own business with 3 other partners. So to take time out at a moment like that, especially in the market we're in, mate, first of all, thumbs up, really do appreciate it. And
More than welcome.
probably a
Anytime.
good testament to my mate Jakey over here, obviously doing it on behalf of Jake. So thank you too, Jake. we do appreciate you. Hey, mate, you started off. What year did you start off?
Mate, I started in 2014. Yeah, started in 2014. Came into real estate from a bit of a cold start, really, more than anything. Working in the eastern suburbs. I'm from the Northern Beaches originally.
Yep.
So I, left school, went to an all boys boarding school. Finished school, had no idea what I was going to do, like most people, and then from there, just, went and traveled, did uni, by the time I was, 22, 23, had absolutely no idea what I was going to do and fell into it and fell into working at a McGrath office in Coogee. And that's kind of where I started my real estate career and where I cut my teeth. Yeah.
Mate, you started under Angus?
Started under Angus Gorey, which was a blessing and a curse at the same time. He's now my business partner as well. But you know, it was someone that I learned a lot from, and you know, I was even talking with him yesterday, and talking about sort of, you know, those first, you know, whatever months, years in real estate working with him, and you know how much impact that still has on me today as an agent, and even just bits of dialogue that I might use, you know, the way I, you know, price properties, you know, the way I look at certain properties or certain, you know, problems or solutions and strategies, you know, it comes from him. So I was blessed to be in a very high performing office at the time, and work under a good agent like him.
So talking about Angus has got a really strong personality. Yesterday,
Yeah.
I had three of the younger guys that have joined the team on, and I told them the week before to take notes, and then last week they didn't take notes, and I sort of got up them a bit. Mate,
Yeah.
obviously Angus would have been all over you, yeah? Like, let's talk about like knowing that that intensity that you know you needed to succeed. Like, what was it like having someone that would have expected a lot from you?
Look, Angus is known for his directness, to put it nicely. But look, I mean, I thrive under that. You know, I'm a super competitive person, and I'm, you know, I think I pride myself on my hard work, and I think he liked that as well. But you know, the direction that I got from him is very blunt and down the line, and I like that as well. It gave me clarity as to what my job was, and to get things done. You know, and that was what it was about. You know, we were two young guys. He's only about four years older than I am.
Yeah.
So he's not that much older, and I was his first assistant to put on. And you know, for him, starting that process of managing people was, you know, probably a bit of trial and error. But with someone like myself, you know, I kind of gravitated towards that directness, and I trusted what he said. You know, there was a time, it was interesting. I've been working with him for about 2 months at the time, and he said, go to this Josh Fegan training, you know, this coaching thing that McGrath were putting on at the time. And I went there for about 3 hours, and then I left. And he's like, oh, why'd you leave? I was like, mate, the guy's telling me exactly what you've been telling me for the last 2 months. So as soon as he said that, as soon as I knew that, I just knew, you know, what Angus has to say. You know, it's generally, you know, putting me in the right direction or pointing me in the right direction. And the directness, you know, sometimes you need that, you know, as a young person, if you don't know a lot, you really do need that. And I liked it, sort of him being hard on me, and we've got a bit of a different style and personality, but I think that kind of worked in the end. Yeah.
And mate, hard work's the key. Yeah.
100%, mate. That's all it is. Well, that's 90% of what it is. You know, I think that if you can outwork your competition, you're going to have the competitive edge over them. People are going to notice that in the market. People love a young, hungry, you know, agent or person that's out there to shoot the lights out. And I think in the living room, people can tell that too. And it's that hard work and energy which combine together, which I think is making what great agents are. You know, real estate's a very simple game, and some people try and overcomplicate it a little bit. But I feel as though if you do the basics right, the 1%ers correctly, which is, you know, the basic things of doing your callbacks, you know, working with buyers, and, you know, doing your buy work really well, you know, pushing for the very, very last cent that you can, and you outwork your competition, you know, over the years, your traction and momentum will build up, and you'll build a brand and a business around yourself that will help you project into the future really well, I think. Yeah.
So, mate, being in that marketplace, I mean, your office alone would have been daunting. I mean, you got Marnie Senior, Mark McPherson, Adrian Bowe in his day. I mean, that office alone. And then you get outside of that, and then you're competing against Marty Farah, Alex Phillips, Ed Brown. Like, we're talking the fucking best of the best. And you're 24, 26, no fucking experience. You didn't even grow up in that area. Like, we've got young guys in our team. And when I talk young, and also when I say young, I'm also talking inexperienced. I don't care really what age you are. It's about having young and inexperienced energy, which is raw. But mate, like, why not just wait your turn? Like, why did you push so hard to break through? I mean, like, there's a lot of 30-year-olds that are still good assistants and that. Like, where did that drive come that Nick Wise said, no, you know what? I'm going to be Nick Wise, and I'm not going to be Angus Gorey's, you know, PA for the, you know, all my life. Like, that's a pretty good drive, mate. Like, and I say to our 20-year-olds in our team, you know, you can do it now. You don't have to wait. So talk me through that.
100%. Yeah. Like, you know, I think the the fact that I didn't know the market or not know the market, but didn't know who the agents were, I think helped me in many ways. I didn't know what I was getting myself into, you know. As a young guy going into the industry, I didn't know who Alex Phillips was. I didn't know who Adrian Bowe was. And, you know, it was interesting going to that McGrath office. It was the number one office in the business, and had continued to do that, you know, those same numbers for a very long time. And I think just me being naive and young, you know, and having that never die attitude that I'd grown up, you know, playing sport. You know, I was super competitive at sport, and I went to an all boys boarding school, which was very strict and regimented. And, you know, I always was very strict and regimented then again in my business and how I kind of operated. So for me, there was just non-negotiables that I put in place, that I knew that, again, like, okay, I don't have the experience. You know, I don't have the years. I'm not a director of a company. I haven't even been doing this for, you know, 3 months or maybe a year at the time when I started trying to pitch on things myself. I just thought, I'm just going to out hustle and outwork, and I'm going to try and do everything I can to make this person know how much I care about their property and their situation more than the next person.
And,
you know,
people feel that, don't they? Like,
they
you know,
do,
like,
mate. They do. Yeah, 100% they do. People can read your energy so much when you walk into a listing, and let's just say, for example, they've met with the director of a business that's been doing this for 20 years or 25 years, and, you know, they almost feel like they've won the business, and then you get some person come in and then just blows them away with their energy and that they're on point with their, you know, market knowledge. What I would do as well, and what I always recommend to my team, is having hyper market knowledge, which means you know your market better than the market knows itself. And if I can go in there and explain that to the vendor or the potential vendor, and explain my process and how I run a campaign, I can almost guarantee you that the last 3 people that they met probably didn't do that as well. And that makes me look like I've got more experience, right? And play to your strengths, right?
All that information, once upon a time, you used to have to know that. Now it's a click of the button, yeah? A bit of study, a bit of research. So let's talk about energy, mate. So, like, forget Monday, because that's probably callback day. A Tuesday or Wednesday, what does your day look like from the moment you wake up, mate? How do you keep your energy, and what does your day look like?
Yeah, so I mean, I even used today, for example, up this morning at 4:30, go for a run for 10Ks, came back, meditate, then go have a shower, go have a bit of breakfast, get into the office nice and early. I try and get to the office between 7:15 and 7:30. This morning I was in there a little bit earlier just because I needed to get through and do some contractual work, clear all my emails, and then I'm just on from 8 o'clock on the phone. So how do I keep my energy? Look, I'm a massive believer in meditation. I probably started about 2.5, 3 years ago now. Literally changed my life. It's like sort of mantra meditation or transcendental meditation, some people might know. It literally changed my life. It's given me a whole heap of more energy throughout the day, and I try and do that twice a day. So that's a little tip and sort of a little hack. But I think for me, mate, I love what I do, and like I realized early in the piece that, you know, if I was getting in nice and early and I was getting into the grind early, like if you get in the grind, you end up falling in love with the grind, right? And if you fall in love with the grind, you're just going to enjoy your journey a lot more. So I think that's what keeps me super active and super sort of, I guess, on the ball throughout the day, just knowing, okay, these 1%ers is what's going to make it 100%. And I know that I need to just, you know, get into the grind and start enjoying it and be comfortable in that position, you know? I think that's a massive thing. But for me as well, like, I hate losing more than I like winning, right? So like if I win a listing, I'm like, all right, great, next, let's go to the next one. If I lose a listing, I'm like, I need to change something. Why have I lost that? But breaking it down, like I used to, you know, get stuck in these ruts, and Jake would know. Jake did a lot of mentoring with me. So Jake would know, like I'd lose a listing, call him like pretty much nearly in tears, right? But, you know, it might be a 2-bedroom apartment in Coogee, which is, not a trophy home or anything like that, but I'd be so gutted over it. But I just had to understand that feeling of losing and understand why I lost, and then try and make it better for the next time and try and build on it, really. So I think energy comes from within and understanding why you're doing something, and just falling in love with that grind and that journey that you're on. Yeah.
And that's also, if you don't love the process, get out. So just
for sure.
Quickly, connects a day. How many connects would you be doing a day?
Aim for 50 connects a day. Yeah, it's a
That's well over 100 times you've dialed, yeah?
Yeah. I think the connect rates are between 40 and 50. Some days you might get a little bit luckier, but the accountability is critical. So that was,
And how
you
much
know,
stock would you be generally running?
running between 8 and 15 campaigns. A
He's
month.
running 8 to 15 campaigns, guys. So that means dealing with, there's probably some multiple vendors, so up to probably 20 vendors, managing that stock, managing the inquiry, sure with the team and still making 40, 50 contacts. So to you new guys that are out there that are making 20 calls a day,
Mhm.
do the maths, boys or girls.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like that's the reality. That's the fuck. Like that is the reality. So mate, you're done the grind, you get out on your own, and we'll talk about you building your team. And then you got your 4-6 listings, let's say, I don't know what it was, say you're 3 months in, your 4-6 listings. How do you stop getting off the grind? Because a lot of people, then they get busy in the go, like I talk about the ball, you're up and rolling on the ball, you got 4-6 listings, I'm an attraction agent now, this is feeling good. And then we forget about out the grind, and then the ball slams us again, and then we've got to pick it back up. Like people like Alex Phillips have kept on the grind, and how do you carry that stock and then stay on the grind?
For me, it was just about having structure in my day and having good time management. Yeah. If I know that in the morning I'm prospecting, I'm not booking appointments in the morning, from 8 o'clock at least to 12 o'clock. I think it's a sort of a well-known real estate thing. Your calls in the morning, your appointments in the afternoon. Sometimes it doesn't work like that though. Sometimes you've got to be adaptable. And if you've got to stay back from 7 till 8 o'clock at night, making sure you finish off those last calls, then you got to do that. It's just about accepting that and understanding that, it's not a 9-to-5 job if you want to shoot the lights out. But if you don't want to, then that's okay. Real estate's still a great lifestyle. It's very social. But for me, that wasn't why I got into it. I got into it to, do everything I could to be the best, in the brand and then hopefully in the country. But, for me, it's just time management was critical, and then came in the team as well. The team was very, very important in order to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So then you got out alone, and then roughly let's talk about how you built your team from when you left Angus to where it is now.
So I was horrible at admin. I can barely send emails, text messages. It's not good. So I knew straight away I'd have to put someone on. So I initially put on an administration assistant. So they started with me literally day one of Nick Wise as a standalone agent. I couldn't afford to put them on, but I just knew that my business was generated, 90% off making phone calls, prospecting, getting indoors, creating a relationship, and then listing properties, right? And I knew that if I stopped that for, let's say, 2 to 3 hours every day, I knew my business would come back. And I had a bit of traction leaving Angus, and I was lucky to have Angus next to me, helping me along the way. But I put an associate on straight away, so an administration associate, and then after that, just started plugging in other people, other team members accordingly when I was hitting certain milestones within the business. So when those people came in, it was more lead generation type agents, and therefore they could maybe do the colder calls or the less calls which are less priority throughout a campaign and things like that.
So we got Jakey here, which we're lucky enough, and then we've got Tony Rathbone and myself. A lot of the guys are negotiating, they're doing deals. Some of them might only do 20 or 30 a year. And you're doing, well over 100. So, but you still know to lean in and ring someone like Jake. Like that third party when it comes to negotiation or when you get stuck. I know Marnie still does, Mark still does. We're trying to get the team to really get in the habit of not trying to work it out themselves and to lean in and role play. What's the important part of that relationship when it comes to making sure we're on track?
Mate, I can't stress that enough. Like, I'll give you an example. I sold a property yesterday and I called 3 different colleagues, mentors, business partners regarding the deal and how to pull it apart. I get it myself in situations all the time. Like I could sell a 1-bedroom apartment where I'm like, I just don't know how I'm going to actually pull this apart and make this come together. Like whether it's bridging a gap, negotiating, how I'm going to play 2 buys. Like I like a lot of the time you actually know the answer yourself, but actually just verbalizing with an external party will assist you to get there. Like when Jake and I are working together, we do a lot of it. So I highly recommend reaching out to Jake. Like mate, Jake can negotiate and put auctions together and put deals together better than anyone I've ever seen. So you're blessed to actually have him up there. But whether it's Jake or another business partner of mine now, but a mentor as well, James Hayashi, like we just nut things out for 15, 20 minutes and then we're like, oh, okay, well, that's exactly how I thought I should do it. Yeah, okay, I'll just go and do it now. You know, it's just that external person that says, I back you, Nick, go and do it. And you go, you know what, that's the confidence I need. Let's go knock it out of the park.
So there's a couple of things in that 10 to 15 minute chat. If you lose a buyer, you could be going back there and doing opens for another 3 weeks. So the 10 to 15 minutes is pretty good time spent. You know what I mean? And it just makes it more efficient. And what I say to the team is like, say you called me now and you asked me for advice on a sale. I don't know everything about that sale, but some of my dialogue or my thoughts or my process, I call it tools in the tool belt. You might use it on that negotiation, Nick, but you're going to go, oh, I remember when Dave told me that, I'll use it now, you know? And I think that's where the more we break, and I love that pull deals apart, you know, we're actually pulling it apart to put it together because we're actually, what Nick means by that is we're looking at the mechanics, we're looking at what the buyer does, what they've done, have they missed out, what's their age, then we're looking at the vendor, what's their motivation, what's happened, what offers have we given them, and if we really need to pull everything apart to then put it together. I love that, mate.
100%. It's about pulling it apart and getting into the nitty bitty of, okay, why is the vendor on the market? What is their motivation? Like you said, Dave, that's spot on. And sometimes as the agent, like you're so involved in the transaction, you're like, okay, well, all the signs the vendor showing me is how motivated they are. Why am I scared about making that call and saying, this is the money, Mr. and Mr. Vendor, you should be taking it? Why am I scared about that? Sometimes, I was like that yesterday. I was like, I don't want to make that call. But like, in the end of the day, I pulled it apart. I spoke to a couple of other colleagues. I said, that's huge money. Get the deal done. Don't mess it up. Bang, made the call, got the deal done. So, yeah.
Mate, 3-5 years ago, if you looked on Facebook, Instagram, it was an agent with a classy watch. They were down at Woolloomooloo having lunch and a photo of them in a business class plane. Like that was the trend. And then, you know, the Gavin Rubensteins, I mean, some of them have built businesses around that model and it's worked. You know, we all know those agents that have done it. To me, Nick, the new agent, the agent of 22, 23 is about humbleness, hard work, value, service, and a telemarketer. Tell them, what do you think of the agent of 2023? What do they look like? It's not about all that other bullshit that we once thought, yeah?
Nah, mate, I love that you used the word telemarketer. When I went in for my interview with Angus, and actually Adrian Bowe interviewed me for my first interview, and Angus said to me, he goes, mate, you're literally going to be a glorified telemarketer. That's what you're going to be. And that's the way I sort of took it on. And I completely agree. There are agents out there flashy, and it's okay to have nice things. Don't get me wrong, but you know, it's not about flaunting them and boasting them. You know, you can be humble around that as well and be excited to be able to achieve those types of, you know, financial goals in your life. And don't get me wrong, you know, I like having, you know, a nice car and, you know, wearing a nice suit and things like that, but it's how you hold yourself in the market, because I can tell you right now that I know a lot of my clients would go with me over another agent because of how they, you know, act, or how they hold themselves at an open for inspection, or how they treat other people as well. Not even people in buyers and sellers, but treat their colleagues or treat their staff. You know, I think that's really important.
The person in the cafe. Yeah,
100%. Person in the cafe, you know, the cleaner cleaning up at night. You know, I think it's critical, and you know, you've got to just keep that humbleness. And you know, sometimes you feel like a rock star and you shoot the lights out over a couple of months, and that's great. But you know, just remember, you know, you can be brought down pretty easily when you miss, you know, 5 in a row, and that's a humbling experience. I think everyone needs to go through that. Yeah.
And mate, if you turned up to Port tomorrow, how would you build your business?
Mate, I'd build my business. I'd probably look at, firstly, I'd build my business around hard work and just getting out and meeting people. So whether that's, you know, knocking on doors, creating a database, I think database is critical. I was very lucky. I learned that very early on from Angus, is building that database and connecting with them as many times as possible. Real estate's a numbers game. You meet more people, you call more people, you're gonna generate more business, you'll get in more doors, you get more listings, you'll make more money. It's so simple. It's literally a numbers game. So I would be doing whatever I can to try and find as many homeowners in a certain area, and then try and specialize in that certain area. That might be 1,000 houses, it might be 2,000 houses, I don't think there's a certain number that you need to go for, but it needs to be easy enough that you can actually create a relationship with those people, and you can actually touch base with them when relevant things come to market or sell. And I think that's what it's about, just connecting as best as possible, and then just, you know, having a really good marketing strategy behind you. You know, there's a direct correlation with my business and how much money I put into marketing, and also how I
Wait, on
build my
that, you're
team.
talking about what you invest back in yourself. You're not waiting for John McGrath to invest in you, yeah?
No, mate, they don't pay for anything. No, even as a business partner of Ray White, now Eastern Beaches, mate, there's no, you know, business partner, you know, freebies and deals. Like, we put money, I put my own hard work, you know, money, capital back into the business, because I see a direct correlation behind it. And, you know, it sucks when you got to pay a big $10,000 bill for marketing or pay ads on domain and realestate.com. But you know what, if I'm doing it and the next guy isn't, I bet you I'm going to get the call when someone needs to sell their property.
And what I got from that is early on, you knew that Nick Wise was his own business. You know what I mean? You weren't relying, you know,
Yeah.
you didn't even rely on Angus. You, at one stage, Nick
No.
said, I'm going to create my own world. I'm going to create my own business. Yeah.
100%, yeah, 100. You got to stand on your own 2 feet. You know, I think going to boarding school, I was, you know, out of home at the age of 13 or something like that. I think I became very independent, so I was quite lucky. I got to experience that, and I knew that, you know, I wasn't going to getting a handout from my parents. You know, they didn't even they thought real estate agents were crooks, mate. So they weren't doing anything for me, and they still don't. So. But I reckon that's the way you got to cut your teeth, just hard work and you know, paying and understand you got to pay it forward now as well. And yeah.
So to talk some of the bit of the fun side. So like the guys that, you know, just start, they get 2 sales and then they build up to 4. Once they're at 4 a month, I ride them harder and I go, it's not because I'm not happy with you. It's just that I know the fun bit's about to start. 2 a month, fucking hard work, because you have a good, you know, 1 month you sell 3, then you sell 5, then you sell none. When you're selling 4, you're nearly there. But when you start to get to 6 a month, real estate's just more fun. Talk to me about that bell curve that you go from this is grind and this is tough and a good month, bad month, to now that you've got this motion, and it's just like, that's what we want in our business, isn't it, Nick?
100%. As soon as you can get to, you're doing 4 to 5 deals a month, you should be really staying on that number, because that's where you'll get to writing. You know, you might do, you know, 4 or 5, and then it gets to, you know, 8 1 month. And then when you're at 8, you're meeting so many more buyers and sellers and adding more people to your database that you should be able to try and just keep that momentum going at that level. Of course, there's going to be dips and ups and downs and things like that. But if you can just focus on those, you know, really clear numbers, and it goes back to having a clear goal every single day, is, all right, if I make 50 connections a day, I guarantee anyone in our business, if they make 50 connections a day for, let's just call it 6 to 9 months, I bet you they double their business. I bet you they do. It's not, to me, it's a given, right? So if they just do that 50 connects a day for 9 months, you'll double your business. And that's what it's about. So you get the 4 listings, you keep doing your connects, keep doing your connects, keep doing your connects. You might plug an associate in 2 or 3 days a week at that stage, right? Because then you can keep doing the connects on the more warmer listings and just working your pipeline a little bit better then.
And so, I mean, and so in other words, if you got up here tomorrow, you would just be saying, Dave, just find me 100 names I can call a day. You know what I mean? Like that's
100%. Yeah. I'd probably ask an old agent that doesn't have, you know, that doesn't want to work anymore, or doesn't really, is kind of getting out of the industry. I'd say, give me all of your open for inspection books. I'll pay you for them. If I get a lead off the back of it, I'll clip you into it, things like that. You don't have to do a thing, just an old open for inspection book, whether it's 7 years old, 10 years old, 2 months old, whatever it is. And I'd just be calling those as much as possible. Those older 5s, I think in your market would just be absolute gold. So if you can link in with someone like that and pay them on it, you know, you've got to pay, you know, clip them in, and whether it's a 10 or 20% fee, whatever it might be, but don't worry about the commission, because the commission is a byproduct of the good and hard work. Just think about the long game. Because if you do that for 9 months and you're calling open for inspection books, you're going to build an incredibly good database. You're going to start generating listings, and you're going to create momentum for yourself, which will then propel you into the next year, which hopefully, you know, takes off from there.
And mate, you've been around some amazing people in real estate. 2 or 3 amazing tips of advice you've had along the way?
The harder you work, the luckier you get.
Yeah.
I think real estate's I think there's a lot of luck involved, but you don't get lucky without making the calls and working hard. So that's one thing that I really, really sort of live by. And then I think outwork the competition and fall in love with the grind. Yeah, fall in love with the journey. You know, some days I'll go home and, you know, my fiance will be at home. She's like, "What's wrong?" And I'll be so down and out because that's the roller coaster of real estate. And the next day you do, you know, you fluke some deal, you meet some buyer that's from
You walk in
Singapore that buys something, like it just something comes off and it changes things completely. And I think that's why I love it, because you got to fall in love with those ups and downs. You know, everyone has them, whether you're Alex Phillips, #1 in the country, or you're, you know, in day 2 of real estate, you're going to have ups and downs. And as soon as you recognize that, you know, you'll be okay.
So guys, we've interviewed some great agents along the way, and there's some new people here that haven't heard those people. And for me, it's hard to ask questions because it's nearly the same answer that I give every time. And it's like, we're all looking for the magic pill. We're all looking for the magic pill. But like someone like Nick has just got into the industry. He's been really humbled and he's really worked and absolutely grind. And I'd say, Nick, if you employed someone in your team and they didn't show grind within the first week, they'd be out pretty quick, yeah?
100%. Yeah, 100%. The grind is part of the culture. Yeah, if you don't meet the culture, then you're probably not going to fit in.
Yeah. And then from that, mate, I mean, I believe you just bought a house in, I mean, real estate will then give you whatever you want. You know what I mean? Like real estate's not on trial, is it? If you do the work financially, you're going to be blessed. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Exactly. Real estate's the vehicle to, you know, buying property and, you know, and then that buying property is how you're going to really create wealth in a way. So that's the way I look at it. Yeah. That's where I want to get to. And that's a goal. And yeah, most definitely it is.
Well, I'm going to let Jake just finish off in a sec, but before he jumps on, I know what you're going through at the moment with the marketplace and opening up the new business. I wish you all the success in that. You got some.
Thank you so much.
It's going to be
Thanks,
awesome.
mate. Really appreciate it. Cheers, Dave.
Thank you. And then Jakey, do you want to finish off?
Of course, mate.
I've got to give Jakey a moment in the sun.
Ah,
This is my
thank
little
you.
man life here.
Thank you.
We're on the couch again.
thank you, Nick.
No worries, guys. All
Anyone got
good.
any questions quickly? Maybe just type them into the question tab and I can ask Nick for you if anyone has any quickly before we wrap it up. Yeah. We're all good.
I think we're pretty covered.
Everyone's all good?
Yeah,
Awesome.
have a cracker day, mate. Thank you.
Welcome, guys. Thanks so
Yeah,
much,
bye.
guys. Have a good day.
Oh,
luck out
bye
there.
now.
Oh,
Oh,
bye.
hang on. We've got one. Nick,
Okay.
you there?
Yep. Yeah.
He copied mine from last night.
How do I get
Hair like
hair
that.
like that? I know, guys. His hair's pretty special.
Wait till you see the teeth. Wait till you see the teeth.
Nick, bring in. Come
Was
on.
that a
bring the teeth
Was,
in, Nick.
was that a setup? Was that a setup, Dave? That must have been.
All right, bye, Nick. Thank you, guys. Thanks,
See
everyone.
you guys. Bye.